Nintendo posted today that from their Nintendo of America account is where we're pulling this from. Join us for a Nintendo Direct live stream focused on Nintendo Switch games coming in the second half of 2024. There will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during this presentation. June 18th, 7 a.m. Pacific time, roughly 40 minutes. Connor, no Switch 2 at all is what they're saying. Now, where does that set you with expectations and hype level for this Direct that we are getting tomorrow morning?
Well, we just had the Summer Games Fest last week, and that kind of laid out what we're going to be expecting for the rest of the year. It was kind of in the later half, getting a bit sparse, so that filled it out. But one of the things that's lacking is Nintendo titles. And so I feel like we can expect a couple of games, not a lot, but some heavier hitters. Maybe not the heaviest of hitters. You know, there's been talk of a new Metroid game. We had talked a little while ago how that was, it seems like a good starting title for whenever they do the next Switch.
Yeah.
So, but it still could come out.
Yeah.
You know, because we've been waiting on a new Metro title for quite some time now, and it might just be the time with Nintendo not really having any other big titles yet for it to come out.
Metroid Prime 4 is what you're referencing.
Metroid Prime 4, yes.
Yeah, so this is where things get a little tricky, right? Because very obviously, it's the most open secret in the industry that Nintendo's got a new piece of hardware coming. Probably next year. They're not ready to talk about it yet. We'll probably talk about it later this year. October, November-ish, you know, for launch in the spring, like they did with the first Switch, right? So now the question is, well, what are you going to talk about here? Because you're in a tricky spot where Nintendo is known for developing titles, having them done, and then waiting for release on them. Metroid Prime 4 was announced. A while later, they said, hey, we're restarting development on that, and then they've been silent ever since, which I think is the right move, right? But now, you know, clock's ticking. Sounds about right. The streets are saying this should be a pretty sizable, a pretty meaty Direct. This is some big things are going to happen here. So now the question is, well, is Metroid Prime 4 going to be shown here and released within the year prior to a Nintendo Switch 2? Or is it going to be their cross-generational title between Switch 1 and Switch 2, a la Breath of the Wild?
Easily could be, because, you know, this game would have been in the oven for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's hard to say whether they would have been making it with the Switch 2 in mind, or that came after development had already started and it was maybe too late to course correct. I think that really determines whether we will see it on this showcase. Aside from Metro, I think a game that's way more likely to show up, because our co-host on
let me stop you right there real quick. Do you believe them when they say no mention of a Switch successor?
Yeah, I don't believe... Nintendo's pretty open about that kind of stuff. I don't think there wants to be like, hey, we're going to drop this big surprise, especially when it's so matter-of-factly beforehand, because if you want people to be, you know, questing for if you are going to announce it, you would want that audience to come watch your show, not just dispel any rumor of that and possibly get less eyes on it.
My question is like, I'm not saying a big reveal of the Switch 2 or anything, but surely they're going to talk about it, like, in some breath. Like, it'll be an offhanded, oh yeah, and, you know, we will be bringing it to Switch successor, whatever, when we are ready to talk about that XYZ thing.
I feel like that's a better marketing strategy when you're unveiling the new Switch, and you'll say, here are all these old games we also have, in addition to whatever new ones, since they'll probably be, you know, they don't have a ton of titles for it.
Yeah.
So they'll want to, you know, tell you the backlog of Switch games that'll be brought to it.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
We
will. Also, they could mention that with the compatibility.
Yeah.
Backwards compatibility with Switch. So,
yeah.
You know, it's hard to say.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4, I think, is a complicated one. Let me see the... focused on games coming in the second half of 2024. Now, this doesn't mean Metroid Prime 4 is not going to make it, even if it is a 25 game. They could still end their Direct with Metroid Prime being re-revealed and sort of give us maybe a gameplay look or a nice trailer for that. But it could still be next year's title. I don't know. Again, we're in a weird spot. It just depends on what Nintendo wants to do with that title to put a cap on that. What was your other thing you were going to bring up?
Oh, I was going to transition over into the other big game people are hoping for. Phil, our friend and co-host, host of the Piggy Bank, is Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Yeah.
People they were waiting for it with the Summer Games Fest. It never came. And so now the hope for it coming out this year has become pretty desperate in hinging it all on a Nintendo Direct. But whereas Metro's a little bit more up in the air.
Metroid.
I think, what? Metroid.
Stop saying Metro.
Metroid. Oid. No Oid. Doesn't really matter, does it?
Makes an entirely different franchise.
But Hollow Knight Silk Song, it's slated for a 2024 release. Easily could not be. But if they did, start... The year's coming to a close. All the things are being announced. I feel like the studio would have come out and said, hey, we're delaying it till 2025, or it's coming out then.
Unless this is their announcement of it.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, yeah, see us in February 25.
And they could, because like you said, it's only focused on games coming out this year.
Yeah.
But when you already have it up to bat and you've had it for so long on 2024, it makes sense for them to be on like this new Direct. Say, hey, here it comes.
The game was supposed to come, I think, in 22. So,
even more so.
Where are we with Hollow Knight? I don't know. Hollow Knight's one of those ones where it's just like, it could be there, it could not be there. Who knows? It feels like it feels like it's time, right? Like this game has been in the oven for a long time. It's time to get a move on here, just so that we can move on from talking about it because we're tired of talking about it. I agree with you. If it was like a long way out, they probably would have said, "Hey, by the way, we're not showing anything. We're not ready." They probably would have said that weeks ago. So my bet is that it will be here. Will it be this year? That's a coin toss. And again, they could say it's for this year, and then a month away from launch, be like, "Hey, we have to delay till January, February." And it could just be because the back end of this year is filling up. We still have titles with question marks on them, mainly Indiana Jones, Avowed, titles like that, but they're still slated for this year. And
Avowed got a release date,
huh?
Avowed got a November release date.
Have we? Oh, we've been had that release date.
Yeah, well, because it was like shaky on whether it was. They rescinded a tweet. At something weird stuff happened, but then they confirmed it's November, the original date, November 12th, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Weird. All right. But still, like the back half of this year is filling up. We've got some games that come in post July. August, September, October, November, December. Well, December looks a little barren right now, so like maybe they'll launch there, but who knows? But if it's time, it's time, and I think we're definitely encroaching on it being time. So it would not surprise me if it would be here or if it came out this year. If it did, you should have followed my fucking advice on our fantasy critic, shouldn't you have? And waited for this for fucking Direct before you went and counterpicked it.
I didn't counterpick it.
You did counterpick it. Hollow Knight.
I thought I just counterpicked Black Myth Wukong, which I regret.
Why do you regret that?
Because I think it might be good. I think I might be... Because my reason for counterpicking that on our fantasy critic, which for those of you that don't know, it's basically fantasy football, but for video games.
Yeah.
It didn't have any gameplay. They kept saying, it's coming, cinematic, but we didn't see anything from it. And now we finally got stuff just these past couple days ago.
We had a whole conversation in your room about how you counterpicked Hollow Knight, and I told you to wait until the Direct. And you went, eh.
Can you drop counterpicks?
No.
Oh, well. I might be losing. Well, we'll see. My viability for the fantasy critic hinges on that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But, all right, I hope it doesn't come out. Guys, you've been making the game. It's probably going to be great. Don't release it. Please don't release it.
Just wait. Just wait a little longer for me, please. So, from there, now things get a little fun. Little wacky. What's coming to the Switch? What are we going to finish the legacy of the Switch off of? People have been talking forever about how there is a Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD versions just sitting there, just waiting for release. This is probably the time to get those, right? We're at peak Switch consumerage. You've got a bunch of 100 million plus Switches out there. Yeah, give us the Legend of Zelda titles that will grant quite a large portion of your audience some nostalgia.
It's still so weird to me that Skyward Sword was like the big one that they did, not Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, which are undeniably more well received.
Yeah, I played the first hour of Skyward Sword. Mm-hmm. Didn't have a good time. Didn't enjoy myself. But that I guess that's like the first hour of Zelda games usually aren't that interesting anyway. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Oh, I had a whole list of games that I wanted to throw at you, and I've forgotten them a lot now. Animal Crossing.
The last one came out a while ago.
Yeah, 2020. So, been 4 years. They haven't done any major DLC or expansions or anything. They've done seasonal updates, which have been cute.
But they made a pretty big deal of this is the last new expansion.
I believe they said, hey, we're not doing anything. So I don't think this is the time to announce a new Animal Crossing. I think you wait for the next Switch, the next console for that. Mario, is he here at all in any way?
I don't think so.
I mean, the best I think they've got a 3D Mario cooking. It's been. God,
2018 was the last
7
one?
years. Yeah, or no, it was 2017 because it was the same year as Breath of the Wild.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's been almost 7 years since the last 3D Mario with Odyssey. I mean, unless you want to count the 3D Land Bowser Fury thing, 3D World, excuse me. So there's that. That one I think you hard hold until the next console, which makes me wonder, okay, does Super Mario Wonder get maybe a level pack DLC or something? Some cool new levels or maybe a small little adventure within that game that you can play? I don't know. Mario Maker 2 maybe gets an update, but we haven't really seen anything for that game since launch, which is upsetting. So yeah, I don't know if Mario even shows his face. Now you start looking at, some of the spin-off titles and stuff. Mario Kart 8 is done. Obviously going to wait for 9 for the next console, right? That game sells too much to put it on this current version of Switch.
And then shift.
I mean, it might be a crossover title, but yeah, it's not coming this year at the very least. So there's that. A Mario sports game.
Yeah.
We've done golf. We've done tennis. We did strikers. Baseball. That's the only one that I can think of that hey, maybe we get a Super Mario Sluggers game or something like that. Could see it happen. Again, not super interesting, but it is the type of game that would be turned around within a year.
Yeah. I think we'll see Tears of the Kingdom DLC, some kind of extra content for that.
Maybe, but I think it'll be light.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that it'll be anything substantial within that. You think maybe an update, some kind of casting or something for Zelda movie?
Yeah.
Maybe some kind of update for Mario Movie 2?
Yeah.
Maybe
more the Legend of Zelda one.
You think
Makes
so?
Sense. Yeah, because we've heard about it for a while. We just got that promo image. Did they give a release date for that or a window? No?
I mean, they Hollywood puts things out all the time, so it may have a date already, but we don't have a trailer. The director just finished up with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so I mean, sure, he may be jumping right into this one, but I imagine it's going to be a few years before that. But they were marketing the Mario movie years in advance.
I didn't know that the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the same director for that. So yeah, most likely not.
No,
I know there's people out there in film and video games who are
the
able to
most
shell
I can
out
imagine
stuff,
is we've got a casting done. We've got a voice for Link.
But I just don't think that'd be showcased at the Nintendo Direct. That just doesn't seem their style. All of a sudden,
what they did for Pratt.
Movies. Is it?
Yeah.
Damn. Well, maybe a star would make sense.
Yeah.
Rather than a whole casting.
Timothy Chalamet is Link. Think about it.
I mean, that's not out of the realm. That's actually very likely.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I got.
Yeah.
Fire.
That I was curious about that. No, I don't think a new game, of course, but Engage getting a DLC seems likely, right? It was last year. It seems kind of late now, but
I don't really see them doing DLC for that game.
No?
I don't think it hit hard enough to justify spending more time on DLC.
Okay.
It's already kind of like a celebration of, Fire Emblem. It seems like it'd be very easy to just do here's this, they did in Awakening. You could recruit Ike. I think you could get Marth. Other characters you can get, definitely. Roy. You have to be able to get Roy. Either way, they like going in and, doing hey, remember Fire Emblem? We're a series, which Engage seems like it would do that, but it's already, filled to the brim.
Well, I mean, we're too early for another one, right?
That's why I don't think it's going to show up, but it easily could be just, it's Nintendo.
Or a spin-off title of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have multiple games working, though.
100%.
Really, yeah, go anywhere.
So it gets tricky with that. Luigi's Mansion 2 update. Just hey, reminder, this is coming.
Mm. Did we ever get anything for Dead Cells 2 at another showcase? I feel like we did.
Did they announce a Dead Cells 2?
I thought there was a second one coming out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Are you thinking about the Shovel Knight story?
No. Yeah, there has to be.
Because that team is doing the Rogue Prince of Persia right now.
I guess not. That's one of those things that I guess I just like
made up in your
locked
head?
up on my head.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now Dead Cells 2 might be happening, but not right now. So yeah, and then I mean, you look around at the state of Nintendo right now, and it's like, what else could we even possibly have coming down the pipeline? I mean, at this point now, we're just hypothesizing of what else could even be there. Splatoon, maybe another piece of DLC announcement or something, or some kind of competitive. Splatoon 3 will have an update of some kind, I'm sure, and it'll be the part where we all tune out and stop paying attention, right? Because this is just what they do.
Yeah, but. I mean, the problem, really the crux of the issue with theorizing about this Direct is the element of the next Switch makes it unsure about what games they would want to save for it, which games they want to end the current Switch's life cycle on. Nintendo's weird. They do weird stuff. So it's kind of hard to predict.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a substantial amount of time, and there's going to be more than what we've already talked about there already, unless they do 15 minutes of Splatoon, which they're not, they've done before, So we're going to find out. But yeah, I feel like this will be quite a substantial thing. I just don't think anything is a lock outside of, I think, the Legend of Zelda ports. Probably. You could probably lock those in as probably going to happen. But Metroid Prime 4, who knows? The other one, Hollow Knight, again, who knows? If Hollow Knight's going to appear this year, it would be on Nintendo, I feel. So yeah, now it's just a dependency on does that happen or not.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Indeed.
And you will find out if you're watching this an hour from now.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing a reaction stream and recording of the Nintendo Direct, 9 a.m. Central Time. So make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube and follow us on Twitch.